Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to another high-level best of 3 between Goblin and Beyond here on the new patch. I'm excited to bring you all this one. Goblin is one of the players that has been playing a crap ton of new patch tournaments, a lot of new patch games in general, and he's one of the Protoss players that, whose intellect I appreciate. You know, I look at a guy and I think this is a guy that knows what's up, that knows what needs to be done. He's someone that he has figured out the perfect way to do as little as needed to win, basically. He really is the perfect player, very efficient, I would say, when it comes to putting in the effort and getting the results. He's always been very smart at this. I don't think he is a mechanical beast by any really in any regard. I mean, he's solid mechanically. It's not like he has bronze level mechanics. I think I like him so much because I see a lot of myself in him, you know? I look at Goblin and I think, you know, we're two guys that mechanically we might be not the most gifted, you know, aesthetically pleasing. No, our face is not. But what Goblin and I have that other players perhaps lack is just a keen and sharp intellect. Just knowing what to do in each situation. I really think that's the case with Goblin. He really has a way of winning games, you know, which is a very important skill to have when you're a StarCraft 2 player. Absolutely. He's going to be opening up here with just like Adept into Twilight. Very old school build, of course. Nothing weird about it. At the same time, you see Beyond with a 3 Rex opener. Talking about old school build, this is most definitely one of them. Double Tech Lab, which is the golden standard of 3 Rex builds. We're going to see Stim first, and then Combat Shield following it up. As Marine Marauder will most likely make its way across the map, see if it can deal a little bit of damage. Now, this used to be a build that wasn't so popular in the old patch. In the new patch, it also isn't very popular. Despite the nerf on the battery, the battery overcharge is being removed altogether. I think that 3 Rex is actually quite a bit easier to hold nowadays because you can easily energy charge a sentry, you can hallucinate the scout, and you can just have multiple force fields ready for it. Don't forget is that whenever these Terran players play a 3 Rex, is that they, in reality, they only have a single stim that is going to be useful for them because they don't have healing. So they have one opportunity. The moment you see stim activate, you can delay that move in by force fueling. The push just isn't that scary anymore. And not just because of the time, but also because of the HP that gets eaten away, right? So yeah, I'm a huge fan of this here for Goblin. He's also playing a phenomenal build against it. It's going to be a 4-gate blink build order, which is something that we've seen just an absolute metric crap ton here on this map due to the large ridge basically into the main base on the Terran side of things. It's hard to defend against these 4-gate prism builds. Goblin is going to scout with a double Adept Shade. It's not quite going to find it and smartly moves his Stalkers towards the north side of the map, where he'll once again join up with the forces of the Terran player, who has now finished his Combat Shield. Stim short to finish as well. Don't forget, if you use Stim here, you'll need to cover a lot of distance with that Stim. So we're going to see an unstimmed army. Now we see the Stim. Might be capable of getting one of these Stalkers, or maybe not even. Good control here so far out of Goblin. He's going to lose 2 Stalkers, 3 Stalkers. I think the Adepts also fell. And that should be the end of this push, to be honest. Let's see if Goblin can go for some type of follow-up attack still. Where's the Prism? Prism is here on the bottom left side with 2 Stalkers included into it. New Stim gets used, but this army just doesn't have a whole lot of power anymore. It's going to be capable of sniping 2 more Stalkers. That is more than I thought he should be capable of getting, but in the end, resources lost, slightly favoring Goblin here. Still has the ability to maybe deal some counter damage. 2 of these Stalkers in the Prism. We'll take out one of these workers, are going to get a second one as well if the micro is even remotely decent. And of course it is. Third base starts over here as Charge is on the way to Starport, has just finished up, and we're going to see the swap onto the reactor to start pumping these medevacs 2 at a time. Stalker force isn't necessarily big enough to just straight up push through, but you can make some technical moves, maybe get a couple of worker kills here, maybe pick up a Marine occasionally as well. Please let the micro be good. Yes, it is. Marine gets taken out. Bunker gets sniped too. A little bit uncomfortable for Beyond. Not a bad situation. Like, he's gonna lose a couple of Marines, and that really should be it. It's just uncomfortable when you don't have that bunker anymore to defend. It's gonna need to use a full stim. Goblin not with a great response there. It's going to end up losing, I think, 3 more Stalkers is what I saw go down. So ends up killing 3 Marines for 3 Stalkers. Not the greatest trade. Robo Bay is going up behind this. 4 more gateways as well. No forge quite yet, as Goblin is just setting up for... yeah, I guess it's a... I'm not even sure if it's going to be a macro game, because without a forge, it might be hard to execute a real macro game. I'd just be going for like an 8-gate charge lot Colossus type of all-in. I wouldn't mind it personally. The 2 Stalkers are going back into the natural, seeing if they can get any damage done here. We'll get the pickup in time, don't kill anything. At the same time, Stalkers in front. I think managed to pick off 1 Marine. Maybe a Marauder. Here comes a flanking Marauder. These Stalkers are fairly low already. One of them will fall. They're now being chased. We'll need to recall, and there we go. Recall activates. Beyond believes that Goblin is smart enough to recall, and is gonna start walking across the map. Doesn't even try catching any of the Stalkers. First Colossus is out already, or no? Okay, this is the first Colossus on the way. Goblin's gonna move on the map to meet this army. I think that's a good call. This is an army that was fairly damaged already due to all of the stims. Medevac's completely without energy. Lots of Marauders and Marines actually end up falling. We have a double drop heading in towards the north side of the map, where the natural of Goblin can be found. Goblin, however, is pushing pretty hard, realizes the lack of reinforcements, doesn't have a recall available, of course, anymore, which could be an issue. Stalkers are going to move in, Zealots will be moving back. First Colossus pops out. There are 4 or 5 Marauders in this army. What's it? 4 Marauders, 2 Mines. Should perhaps be enough to deal with this Colossus. 4 Marauders will be capable of damaging through that battery, as the Mines are hitting in a big way as well. At the same time, Goblin decides, hey, if you're going to attack me, I can attack you too. And he walks in with the Zealot Stalker force. Not sure if this is a big enough force though whatsoever. More Stalkers now on the way, being warped in at home. A couple more SCVs are being chomped down by the Gateway army. As this is also going to get pushed back. Goblin manages to stay alive, albeit at a fairly low worker count. He's going to try to snipe this orbital. If he gets it, that would be a very big deal. Instead, he's going to switch targets onto the Medevac. We'll take out that Medevac. We'll snipe 1 more Viking. So there's a lot of low Marauders. He's trying to take a couple out. Another Viking is gonna get knocked down. There is a 3rd CC still here for Beyond. If Beyond had lost his natural, he could have been in some serious trouble. But that doesn't happen. And right now it's 47 workers to 43. You have Observer Vision over here. We have an empty Medevac heading towards the right side. Goblin in position to deal with anything coming for him, as he throws away his entire Stalker force for no real reason. I guess he was busy looking at the Zealots, but that's not how this game works. Multitasking is a thing. Prism remains alive. This is really one of the it's a crime, I think. The fact that this Prism is still active. Beyond should not have allowed this whatsoever. He had the Vikings, but he lost 2 of them. And as a result, this Prism is just being annoying the entire way through. More stuff being warped into the main base. I do believe that the Goblin might want to leave here, as he loses 2 more Stalkers. Last one will blink out at the same time. You have an attack here onto the low ground. Stalkers need to blink away, will do just that. 1 mine gets knocked out, 2nd mine stays alive. We still have the Stalker Colossus over here, as Goblin is paying attention and Beyond is not. It's the opposite of what we would have expected. Beyond even tried going back in, will clear 2 Stalkers. And that is scary. And Goblin is playing quite well this game. APM of about 400 against Beyond's 400 as well. Prism once again comes in, and I mentioned it before, this is a crime. This should not be allowed. Beyond here not doing a good job at dealing with this Prism whatsoever. Is kind of getting outplayed here by the young Croatian. His army is being pushed back as well. Okay, another Marine goes down. Overall resources lost 7.4k to 8.3. Fort base now going down, +2 on the way as well. I'm starting to love Goblin's position quite a bit. He keeps on the pressure here. Continuous aggression on the other side of the map, and it seems to be working out. Now finally we have some extra Vikings coming in. The Prism will have another go at the main base here. Stalker Zealot should not really commit into this army. This army is simply too big. A big fat stim though. That is something you do want to force. These Medevacs are completely out of energy once more. 7 workers going down, and the main Prism has finally fallen. But I mean, you lose 7, 8, maybe 9 more workers. Yikes. Not a great look here for our good friend Beyond. Every single time he stims, all of these Marauders, look at that, getting deeper and deeper into the, you know, the yellow and the orange HP. Doesn't have a whole lot to go on here. The next stim is gonna hurt so freaking much. There we go. All of them right now in the orange pretty much. There's no Zealot reinforcements, which would help so freaking much, but it's not here. Colossus might just not survive. Yep, there we go. It's gonna get knocked out by these Marauders, but a lot of Marauders also going down. And let's not forget, Goblin already has a fort base, and there's not that many patches around anymore. Probably will need to start transferring some of these workers over to that base. At the same time, Beyond is only on 43 workers. Templar Archives here for Goblin, who is only on 4 gases. Might be capable of building 1 Archon, but against 0 Ghost, that might just be enough. We have more Medivacs now on the way, which makes a lot of sense, because, let's face it, this army is fairly damaged. There's no energy on these bad boys. You're gonna need some more healing if you want to survive. Double Vikings stay in the main base as a new Prism starts, +3 starts as well for the ground weapons. We'll have to wait and see if Goblin is gonna be capable of taking that map control, because that's going to be absolutely vital right now in this game. You don't want to give any control whatsoever to the Terran player. And if there's one thing that Goblin has been doing extremely well so far in this game, it's just being active with his Stalker groups. He's always finding that Terran force. He's always trading with it. He's always making sure that he knows where his opponent is at, and perhaps even dealing a little bit of free damage. Here we go once more. Just gets a couple of shots in. Wants to force out a stim. Doesn't quite manage to do that. But does, you know, waste a little bit of extra energy, and there's really not a whole lot of energy to go around. Sets up a Guardian Shield. 2 mines still manage to hit those Zealots. Marauder count is very high. They try to snipe the Colossus, but won't get it. Zealots dealing a lot of damage as a result. And we have 1 more mine that's going to hit practically nothing. 2 Vikings now joining the fight as well. 2 Zealots heading in towards the 3rd. Prism still empty, but wanting to go somewhere else. Uh-oh, Stalker's in position in the main. Could stop this drop from coming in. See if Gobo is going to be paying attention here. Stalkers once again on the other side of the map. Worker count at 60 versus 50. I think +3 is actually going to be kind of a game changer here. I'm not going to lie about that. We have a pickup. Doesn't manage to pick all of it up though. Couple of Stalkers in the main. This is a very awkward split that you need to make, by the way, because you want units in the main, but you also want an army to defend your 3rd base, you know? Probe is going to be spotting out this very minor move out. Not even sure if you want to recall for this or if you just run over. Like, this army doesn't deal damage very quickly. A single Warpin could probably deal with it. Instead, going to be sending his entire army. Ooh, Colossus could get sniped. Beyond not paying attention here. These 3 Marauders by themselves could have fought that Colossus, but instead they'll just run into the Zealots, and that is the one thing you don't want to happen. At the same time, Prism heading in towards the main base. We have, I think we had some units here as well. They didn't manage to do anything. This force in the main, though, looks like it has some real potential. Is Beyond gonna try to pick up and go into the main? No. Stalkers are in position. Ground weapons level 3. 6 seconds from finishing up as well. It's going to be 1-1 upgrades against +3. And this is exactly what you want as a Protoss player. 17 more SCVs have gone down. Vikings now gonna try to kill the Prism in the main. As Goblin moves across the map with world's smallest army. But even world's smallest army is better than world's, well, non-existent army, which is pretty much what Beyond has. Beyond has 2 Vikings, 3 Ghosts, and that's about it. He's desperately trying to get back home with his main force, but even his main force consists of 3 Marauders and 7 Marines. That's not a whole lot. This Orbital Command is in a bit of trouble. It is gonna get taken out there, and that is a big deal, because now that means we're gonna be 2 bases versus 4, and Beyond does not see a path to victory, taps out, and Goblin takes game number 1 in a very fun and interactive game between the two here on Whispers of Gold. And that was a, quite frankly, impressive win out of Goblin. Not the favorite in this series. Not the favorite at all in this series. Goblin a much lower rated player than Beyond is, but played well. Very often when lower rated players beat a higher rated player, it is on the back of a very good early game. I think this early game was okay or fine, but it wasn't brilliant for Goblin. This wasn't like a free win as long as you survive till minute 7, no. He actually played well in those mid-game stages. He had good multitasking. His Stalkers were constantly in contact with the Terran force. And this is one of the things that a lot of the high-level Protoss players do so freaking well. They're always not just aware of where the Terran army is, but they're basically trading their blink cooldown for medevac energy or even picking off individual units if they can. Goblin really, he just did a great job at that consistently, so consistently throughout the game. And in the past, when Beyond has lost games like this, I've seen him then kind of resort to a 2-gas opener saying, hey, I feel like if I'm a bit more aggressive and I get to keep the momentum on my side, life is going to be easier for me here. It's not the case this time around, though. It's just going to be opening up with at least the same opener with a single barracks. Ooh, high ground CC. That means it's going to be a fast factory. If I know my Beyond lore well enough, and I think I do. So this is an interesting scout here. Oh, this is a very interesting scout. You don't learn a whole lot. No, actually, he saw the CC. You need to make some, these are not guaranteed reads when you see the CC on the high ground. But there is some other information as well. Usually, with this probe, if you go in and they play Marine into Reactor, the moment the Marine pops, they instantly want to start the Reactor. Because the Marine timing is so freaking important for them to deal with the early adapts. It is so important for them if they want to go for any type of push. So you'd reckon that there's going to be a quick Reactor. He did not see that. Now, where's that gas going instead? That gas is obviously going to be going into a much faster factory. And then combined with the fact that the CC is on the high ground, I think you can make a pretty clean read here as the Protoss player saying, hey, this was a factory before Reactor. And it means that the factory is 50 gas earlier than it usually is going to be. And it's the equivalent if you're playing off of 1 gas early on, which this was an early 1 gas. There's now a 2nd gas, but it wasn't mining quite at that point. Basically means about 11, 12 seconds or so. So yeah, just interesting to see how a Goblin is going to change his game plan based on that, knowing that every single threat is just going to hit a little bit faster. We also see a mine drop now coming out of Beyond. I wonder if this is going to be a double or a triple or a quadruple, or no, it can be a quadruple, but it could be a triple still. I'm expecting, honestly, just a tech lab to come out here. Yeah, there we go. Tech lab, double mine drop, one of the builds that he's been very keen on for a very long time is kind of these double mine drops and then also putting Marines in the medevac. So a lot of players, they don't really want to risk that. They don't really want to say, hey, I'm going to go across the map with these mines. I want to keep my Marines at home in case something weird happens. But Beyond in the past, he's been going with both at the same time, and whether that's in the medevac or just walking, he's done that. Not going to be the case this time around. So it's important to note, you have 2 more gateways. Oh, it's one side. It's just the same build order here. Exact same build order for Goblin, who's going to be heading into a 4-gate blink. Once more. Takes the 3rd gas already. Yeah, double mine drops coming in. And the Stalkers, although in position, aren't in high enough numbers to really, deal with this very efficiently. A lot of mining time lost here. 1 mine manages to stay alive as well. So that remains a threat for now. This is something you need to keep in mind if you're the Protoss player. Absolutely. Because now you need to keep Stalkers at home, right? Otherwise this mine is going to burrow in your mineral line. If he can get a good hit, he's going to get a hit. Otherwise he might unburrow. You need some Stalkers so that the Terran can't continuously burrow, unburrow without taking any damage. That is god-awful when that happens because it denies a lot of mining time. So we're going to see 1 or 2 Stalkers stay at home. At the same time, we have significant Stalker force on the other side of the map as well. We'll be taking out at least 2 of these Marines and damaging 1 more. Ooh, he's going to commit fully. I had not quite expected that. I don't think Beyond had quite expected that. Skip the bunker. It's going to be losing 2 more Marines there. Good control so far out of Goblin. Does have the money for a Nexus, but is probably going to prioritize another Stalker warp in. No, actually we'll go for the Nexus and then the Stalker warp in. Medevac over here hasn't been capable of getting back in. Goblin Stalkers are just in position as the Raven now moves in first with a scout onto the 3rd base and then most likely with an auto turret attack over here in the main of his opponent. Goblin needs to be very careful here. 1 Stalker moves into position. This is going to cost him 3 workers if he target fires. But there's no target fire, and that means it's just going to be 1 worker and a damaged Stalker. Poorly executed there by Beyond, who also finds himself supply blocked. And I almost like this early game more for Goblin than I like last game. He's going to commit to the play here with the blink. On top of the tank, good control with the pickups as well. Doesn't lose a whole lot. Hasn't killed a whole lot either. 4 SCVs and a tank is all that has gone down so far. This mine is gonna stay alive, but this medevac is practically dead. And if Goblin now moves in, oh, beyond not paying attention, it's going to lose this medevac with the mine. That sucks, because now, all of a sudden, all of these Stalkers are allowed to stay in the main base to deal with the Raven, which is still somewhere around here. Yep, there we go. Gonna have another blink into the main. Doesn't quite target down the tank all at once. Is the follow-up pickup micro good? It is fine. It is not great. Target fire with these 2 Marauders was very good. Picking up some of these lower Stalkers in the back. Another tank is gonna end up falling. And let's see if Goblin can get out of here without major losses. The answer is no. He definitely had some major losses. It is still in favor of him, these overall trades. But because your eco with this build is a little bit worse than usual, you ideally want to kill, you know, more than just 10 workers, especially if you've lost 4 yourself. So I think this is a fine position here for Goblin. Don't get me wrong, but I think it could have been a little bit better. Auto turret now coming in. It's gonna get 3 more kills here. Raven gets to stay alive as well, so we'll get to repeat that trick at least 1 more time before eventually probably dying to the Stalker damage. Double drop heads out. Let's take a look at our unit split here out of Goblin. Ooh, she's gonna find this double prism move out. Instantly going to move his Stalkers in position to deal with that as well. Does not want to blink on top of it. Forces out a stim. That is completely fine for Goblin. It is scary, of course, because you don't quite know where they're going to be coming from. Oop, Raven's going to end up dying. Yep, there we go. Aggressive blink forward. Needs to be careful now. He doesn't end up losing a lot of these Stalkers. Good movement with the Prism. Good movement with the Stalker. And he continues fighting as well. Look at that. Absolutely on the edge of what is possible and what is allowed. Goblin is doing it, and I actually like his position. He cleared that Raven. He cleared a couple of Marines, and more importantly, he won quite a bit of time for himself. He now has a Colossus out. A second Colossus is over halfway done. The thing that scares me the most is the fact that he has forgotten to start his thermal lens upgrade. That is a pretty vital upgrade if you're planning on playing Colossus. The double drop now heads into the main base. There's no vision here on this left side of the map either. Prism's going to be stuck in the main, and this time we have these rapid Vikings as a response to that threat, and I think that is correct. Ghost Academy coming out. Much faster Ghost than last game. Goblin is just barely gonna miss it, isn't he? Oh, it's gonna be close. Okay, sees the 2 medevacs. Let's take a look at his response here. Does not have a recall in the main, does not have a recall in the natural, and this is an awkward location as well. Good luck blinking over this. Colossus can't quite get in there either. It is a big Stalker count, but 10, 11, 12 workers have already gone down. Do we have another blink available? Yep, medevac will get cleared. These 4 Stalkers are going to deal some damage, but this Prism is most likely just going to end up dying. And with that Prism, those Stalkers will most likely fall too. So 2 SCVs for a Prism and 4 Stalkers, not really worth it. 1 medevac for 12 probes, probably worth it. So 2 good trades sequentially there for Beyond. As Goblin now wants to send it across the map. Does not have the reinforcement with a Prism. Does have the +1 attack. Manages to clear this medevac as well. So is at least somewhat setting himself up for success. 8 more Zealots coming in. No extra upgrades. This is starting to feel awkwardly all in. And I think now he should realize that he doesn't have the thermal lens. Because, well, let's face it, these Colossus have legitimately no range at all. That is an extremely awkward thing to miss. We still have a Guardian Shield available. Okay, there's going to be at least 1 Guardian Shield available here, as this massive pimple on this planet is oozing some, emitting some gases. Salad run by set up on the right side, but double mines will be in position to deal with it. A couple of units being rallied into the main. Goblin actually has a surprisingly high supply count. Especially considering that he's down a bunch of workers as well, right? Definitely adds in too. His army's supply is very, very solid. The only thing that does worry me is, once again, the lack of upgrades. And not just the lack of attack and armor upgrades, but also the lack of the thermal lens. It's going to make these Colossus way less valuable than they usually would be. And, well, with 4 to 6 Vikings out already, they already wouldn't be that useful, that valuable. We now have a couple more probe rounds coming in for Goblin, who's at 188 supply. Guardian Shield does not get used before the EMP hits the sentry. That's the second Immortal that now has hit the field as well. Don't think it's going to achieve a whole lot. Oh. Thermal Lens starts as a third Colossus begins here as well. We have the Zealots trying to go in, but I think they got hit by something. Maybe Beyond just was in position. I mean, it's some nice multitasking coming out of Goblin, don't get me wrong. I think he's playing this well, but his situation just isn't so good. Trying to get in 8 more Zealots, gonna mix them into the main army. Doesn't have a second Forge. We have an Armory and second eBay coming in right now here for Beyond. Goblin Zealot count is 33, which is nice if your opponent has no units, but there's a lot of units and Zealots just don't scale that well into the later supply stages. Of course, range units are always going to perform a little bit better once there's a lot of units. Like, not all of these Zealots will be capable of attacking at the same time, and kiting is going to be extremely effective. Vikings now falling at a pretty high rate. 2 of them could still go down as well. Just really need 1 more Stalker shot. Sadly, Goblin's not quite going to be getting that. Zealot run by on the right side. Maybe gets a couple of workers. I mean, that's something at least. Zealots park themselves over on the fort. Delaying that base from landing. At least temporarily. Stalkers get left behind maybe to deal with the Vikings. Yes, 2 Vikings go down. 1 Colossus has fallen already as well, though. And that's a fine trade here for Beyond. Increasing his Ghost count. Increasing his Viking count. Getting those 2 upgrades. We have Storm on the way as well. 3 more gateways coming in. 4 more gateways coming in. It's going to increase the gate numbers to 12. It's adding in that 3rd Colossus once more as a triple Zealot run by will attempt to go onto the right side, but it's just going to get stopped here by these mines. Unless he doesn't. Goblin does have full vision here of what's going on. Look at this. Observer providing a lot of vision. Right side, you have vision with the Zealot. Middle with the Stalker and of course the Observer. And then left side, another Zealot over here. So this does look like it might have some potential. He's double expanding to base 5 and 6. He's going to be up, well, at least 2 bases if that 6th base ends up finishing. His worker count is still pretty pathetic. But at least he's going to have a lot of bases to mine from. You know, the workers are going to be free to choose where to work. As these Stalkers are trying to push in a little bit. 7 Vikings against 3 Colossus is fine for the Vikings, as long as they don't die before the fight. Do we have any storms here whatsoever? Here comes the flanking Stormer. There we go. That's a big one, by the way. Blink some of these Stalkers towards the left. There's just not enough storms, it feels like, to deal with this army. Zealots coming in with a counter-attack are going to be taking out 6 of these SCVs. Forcing a lift on the fort base as well. Beyond's army is pretty fierce. Soon we'll have 2 upgrades too. I think though, if Goblin just doesn't die, his eco is just going to be too good. Like, he has so many gates, he has so many bases. He's going to end up losing his last Colossus, so that means that the Stormers will be the only thing stopping this army from just moving in forward. Here comes a Zoning Storm. That was okay. We're going to need way more than that. And we're going to need more beef in our army. And whether that beef consists of Immortals or Colossus, I don't care. But we're gonna need it. Just pure Zealot Stalker with 1 or 2 storms is not gonna cut it. You're gonna need way more storms. And you're gonna need some real serious damage outputting units in the form of Immortals or Colossus, I think. With just a single robo though, it's gonna take years to rebuild all that. Stalkers moving forward, once again trying to trade as much as they can. Ghost count is pretty pathetic here. I think we're at oh, actually it's 10 total. Wait, where's the rest of the ghosts? Oh, there's a bunch over here. There's a bunch walking out, I guess. I think there's not that many EMPs at least in this force. Storm does nothing. We have 4 Templar total. We have a lot of cash in the bank as well for Goblin, who is struggling to spend it. Does have the 12 gateways. I really would love to see a second robotics facility for higher immortal counts here. I think this is a significant blunder here out of Goblin, who's now moving on towards the right side of things. More and more Templars moving on the map. Zealot count of, what is that, 12 on the left side. Here comes an attack into this planetary. They are not really ready to defend it, but the planetary doesn't need a whole lot of help. Can often just defend itself. Not quite this time though. Are we gonna get a recall here? Yeah. Stalkers get recalled. Really nice move. At the same time, this army of Beyond is ready on the left side to start striking ASAP. And I think Beyond actually needs to go. I think it's now or never. And I am not sure if it is going to be never. Because look at this. He's being pushed back. Goblin has a lot of money in the bank. Any type of trade before the main fight is going to be a great trade. Zealots are coming in with a run by as well. Army supply for Beyond is insane though. How many Templar do we have? We have 7 Templar. A lot of them with at least 1 Storm. Energy recharge should be available here as well. Oh, this is going to get pushed back. These Storms are not great. That Disruptor shot is just bad because it doesn't hit anything. We have some more Storms. Needs to use them though before the EMP. Does not use them before the EMP. Blundering Goblin over here. Are there any more Storms coming in from the sides? I think the answer is no. Oh my god. Losing all those Storms there in a clump. A huge mistake. Does he have anything else? I don't think so. He had this game. He absolutely had this game. But he completely skipped out on Disruptors. He skipped out on a higher Immortal and Colossus count. That means you're solely relying on Storms to deal damage. And then if you lose all your Storms to 1 or 2 EMPs, yeah, you're not going to be winning any fights. No matter how good your eco was just moments before. Ideally, Goblin also would have fought on the other side of the map, of course. If you have more money, you want to be fighting away from your own base. You have way more time to reinforce. In general, you want to be fighting away from your own base, unless you have some type of base static defenses there. Yeah, Goblin now pretty dead. 63 army supply against 120. As these Stalkers are just going to get, well, actually quite a bit of damage in. It's just EMP the right side. This does look like it belongs to the Protoss. It's kind of blue, you know? There's minerals nearby. Terrans don't like the natural world. They try to take it out with their technology. Hate to see it. Goblin expanding towards the bottom side. I've seen him do this. I think it was in a game against Shin. Very similarly, where basically whatever side is being attacked, on the other side, Goblin just starts mass expanding simultaneously in the later stages of the game. And it looks really cool. Makes it hard for the other player to deal with sometimes. Of course, not in this case, because Goblin is completely dead. GG's gonna get called beyond ties of the series. We'll be heading into game number 3. 2 banging games here so far out of our players. I've been happy with how they've been playing, you know that? Sometimes I watch these games and I think to myself, another one, you know? Another one of those. Another one of them games. But this series has actually been good. And I'm gonna be real, I didn't expect it to be this good. I expected it to be an okay series, you know? Like, a nice series. You know, it's a one that we've kind of seen before, like maybe some different tricks. I always appreciate Goblin's plays, and I like watching Beyond Micro and control his army and move his army around. So I thought we were gonna see some basic stuff, but dude, the level of this series has been phenomenal. It is something that has been what the hell are these trees? That almost looks like a real forest, no? It's kind of sick. What the hell? How have I never seen this before? This is a problem when you play too much yourself, is that you miss the beautiful details. I did not know there were trees over here. These look like regular human earth trees, don't they? We could see something like this in a forest. That's in the middle of a sentence. Right. It's been something I've been thinking about quite a bit, is that it feels like the level of, I want to say specifically PvT, I feel like that level has been going up. Like, or maybe the matchup is just really fun in the new patch, where we've just been seeing much more action. I don't quite know why, but it feels like almost every Protoss versus Terran series that I've seen in the past month and a half has actually been good. Just like higher level. And it doesn't make sense that it feels higher level. Like it's not like the past month and a half we had like some crazy, you know, like some, what do you call the stuff in Peter Pan? Like the little idiot that throws it and you see you can fly. Is that fairy dust? Tinkerbell, she's called? Like that type of stuff. I don't think we've had that on Protoss players and Terran players where it's like, okay, you're really good now, but only in TVP. Like, I feel like just all of the games I've been watching have just been better, like higher level. It's called fairy dust, isn't it? Pixel dust? Whatever it's called. It's banging. And we don't have it. Alright. Triple CC opener coming out of Beyond. If Goblin once again goes for the 4-gate blink, I'd actually be kind of shocked. He's going for the 3-gate blink at least. And yeah, he's going for the 4-gate blink. Okay, I'm kind of shocked. He's being very active with these 2 adepts as well, which is cool to see. Gonna get a couple of workers. I feel like Beyond has not been on point at dealing with those first 2 adepts. Like he's I guess he kills 2 adepts for 2 SCVs. Does lose a bit of mining time as well. These adepts, they aren't hugely useful in the later stages anyway. But still, it feels like he's been out of position a couple of times. I'm gonna stick with my guns there. 3rd gas on the way. Stalkers now roaming across the map. Pretending like they've seen everything that could potentially pass him. I always like it when Protoss players do it, you know, they split their Stalkers a bit and then they just join up on the middle. It's like, alright, let's pretend there's no other exits that the Terran could have taken while you're moving across. And like every 5 or 10 games they do this, you know, they're just getting like 3 wrecks and the army comes from here. They're standing with your cool 3 Stalkers, like, just move out into me, buddy. And then he's already in your natural, kills like 17 workers. You have to tap out, so yeah. That's the way of the world sometimes, buddy. That's the way of the world. Reaper's gonna get knocked down. Prism's gonna fly across the map. Goblin has gathered the info that this was a 3 racks, or at least, 3 racks or a triple CC into 3 racks, probably by counting the SCVs on the natural. That's how you do it usually. As a result, he's moving every single Stalker out. Now let's see how he's gonna be moving in. He has 11 Stalkers, 5 minutes and 20 seconds into the game. Hit me with your best shot here, Goblin. Show me what you got. Because boy, am I curious. Who's gonna blink in? All the way. Stim is finishing up in 2 seconds. Good pickup. Another good pickup. Another good pickup. And now a blink down. Another blink down. Very reasonable damage here being dealt. Goblin hasn't... What has he lost? Like a Stalker? Okay, right. The 2 adepts from earlier. Kills 5 workers. Killed 3 Marines as well. He's now going to move in here to deal with these bunkers. Takes out 1 bunker pretty much for free. Takes out a Marine as well. Still pretty much for free. Of course, he is losing time. But we all are losing time. So, you know, that's just the way this life works. Another Marine gets knocked out. Observer here on the high ground is going to be providing him with the ability to move onto the high ground if he wants to. I think he's just going to go for this bunker, though. He has so many Stalkers here. It's because he hasn't lost any. He blinks in, picks up. Oh, doesn't get the bunker. Does not get the bunker at all. He wanted to get the bunker, and he ignored the SCVs. The more certain damage would have been to just walk in and snipe 3-4 SCVs, right? That's not what he went for. He wanted to get that bunker so he could continue serious pressure. Now he's going to switch targets. He at least smashed 1 SCV. He's going to get 1 Marine as well. Bunker is still going to fall too. Oh, Marauder goes down. Look at the resources lost here. They're going up. Usually when numbers go up in life, it's good. But not when it comes to the resources lost. Tried to snipe 1 more Marine, doesn't quite get it. I think he's used 3 stims at this point. These medevacts, they're going to be so out of energy by the time they're done healing. Look at this. Some of these Marauders were in the freaking orange. Goblin is honestly, Goblin is controlling his Stalkers extremely well today. Like, it's just impressive stuff. Supplies are even. Goblin has the first Colossus almost done. It's not going to forget the thermal lens here. I am very afraid for Beyond here. Good luck ever moving out against someone that's being this aggressive. He can't even stim anymore. Like, if he were to stim now, these units are just not getting healed. They're just not getting healed. Zealots move into the main base as well. Do you really want to be building 2 Vikings if you have no energy on your medevacts? No, you really don't want to. But he has to. It is the only thing he can do. Look at this. Here it comes again. Snipes 1 Marine. No stim being used because Beyond knows he can't. I bet Beyond, he would love to use stim a couple of times, dude. He wants to be stimming across the map right now. But it's simply not allowed. Stalker count here is phenomenal. Fort base is on the way. Forge starts it's +1. I mean, I'm loving this position here for Goblin. I really am. Gonna snipe 2 SCVs as well. Now we get a stim and we get a trade. A Stalker against a Marauder. But 3 SCVs also went down. And stims also cost money. Ooh, second Stalker falls. That's a little bit unfortunate. Did these Vikings manage to clear the Prism? No, Prism actually moved back. And now we have an attack here with a Colossus. A lot of Zealots. No Guardian Shield. No Sentry for Guardian Shield. And I think that is a bit of a mistake here out of Goblin. But maybe it will just be fine. He has 138 supply against 130. We need the snipes here on these Vikings to be clean. He snipes 2. Snipes a medevac, which is a huge deal as well. Almost a bigger deal. Snipes another medevac. These Vikings are too far forward. They want to get that Colossus. Could micro it. Doesn't need to. Colossus stays alive. There's no medevac count. Or hardly any. And there's no Viking count. That means that Beyond's in a lot of trouble. That is just what it means. SEV's going down at a rapid pace as well. Next Warpin is going to be big. Next Colossus is going to be huge. Like, what do you even build here if you're Beyond? Do you just build pure Vikings? You really can't, because then you can't stim anymore. But if you don't have any Vikings, these Colossus are going to be too good by themselves. There we go, big blink forward. Takes out a couple of these Marauders. Zealots now running in to deal with the mines. Good split away there on that one Zealot as well. Goblin playing one hell of a game. Honestly, very impressed by his abilities after watching this series. This was sick. Just almost Korean-esque gameplay, you know? Like this aggressive, in-your-face style that used to belong to the Koreans, and the Goblin kind of takes it. We've seen Max Packs play like this, but a little bit less aggressive, I feel like. Like, Goblin is really keen on just moving across the map the moment he feels like he can. And he never really left. He showed up here with the 4-gate blink, and he never got pushed back. Now he's gonna take this series. GG gets called. Beyond forced to tap out against the Croatian youngster. I believe Goblin is like 22 right now or something like that. He's been around for a long time, like 5, 6, 7 years. But maybe now, just reaching his peak. Phenomenal stuff here out of the TOS player. 2-1 win. Nice to see. All right, it's going to be it for me today. It's going to be it for all of you today as well. At least when it comes to my videos. Because, yeah, I'm done. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to like button, subscribe to the channel. See all of you next time for a new one. Ciao, ciao.